This presentation aims to outline key considerations for a junior cycle history urban field study of Reginald's Tower and the Medieval Museum in the Viking Triangle in Waterford City. By the end of the presentation, you will have gained an understanding of the rationale behind choosing this location as an urban field study. You will have considered possible teaching, learning and assessment methods that will enhance student learning throughout. You will have identified ways in which the junior cycle key skills can be embedded and where cross-curricular links may be forged with other subject areas. You will also have addressed some challenges that may arise for students and teachers in the planning and implementation of the urban field study. If supported before and after by appropriate teaching, learning and assessment methodologies, which will be looked at in a moment, this field study can provide an invaluable learning experience for students. Section 1 of the Junior Cert History syllabus, How We Find Out About the Past, includes the unit Castle, Church and City, which comprises a study of medieval society, cities, manors, castles, monasteries and the medieval parish. The study can be based on buildings, settlements and other material sources, and between the tower itself and artifacts such as money, clothing, household items, and religious relics, all of these aspects are incorporated in some way. Aside from the visual impact of the Viking longboat outside Reginald's Tower, which is in itself worthwhile, this field study offers an opportunity to do rather than simply learn history, developing content knowledge and key skills. Students will see first-hand examples of medieval buildings and artifacts. It will allow them to build on their study of the work of the archaeologist, with visual, oral and kinesthetic learners being catered for. The dedicated school tour guides available who are in character as medieval citizens will make the trip as educational and as enjoyable as possible. Moving on to the teaching, learning and assessment strategies that can be used in conjunction with the field study, the possibilities are endless. Take a few seconds here to consider your own preferred teaching style and the learning styles of your students, and then we will look at some suggested methods. I think students will benefit most from the field study if they have done some in-class learning on the topic beforehand, so that they can link new information from the trip to prior knowledge and reinforce it. The relevant section of the course can be taught and assessed using methodologies such as reading and note-taking, image discussions from PowerPoint or simply Google, video clips, terminology bingo, jigsaw, people in history diary entries, exploratory questioning, or any other classroom-based strategy that works well with your class group. Students should be well prepared for the field study with a good knowledge of the medieval period. On the day of the study, students can be provided with a question sheet to complete as they go, or a scavenger hunt such as the one handed out at the start of the presentation. Having a clear goal and learning intentions are critical to ensure maximum benefit for the students. The scavenger hunt will allow students to use their own devices to document their learning, which will incorporate ICT and also lay the foundations for follow-up activities once back in the classroom. Students' photos can be added to a Padlet, a class Google Drive, or simply emailed to you for printing and creating a classroom wall display. Giving students a choice of what to document will allow for differentiation. You may even compile the list with them beforehand by asking what kind of things they might expect to see on the field study. If using a question sheet, differentiation can be achieved through the use of higher and lower order questions. After the trip to assess learning, students could create a model of an artifact or building they saw on the trip to contribute to a class museum, or present and explain the image of an artifact that impressed them the most. Another idea is to hot seat a character from the medieval period, possibly based in Waterford. Any of these activities can also be peer or self-assessed and are excellent assessment for learning strategies. In terms of key skills, all 6 can be embedded in the teaching and learning throughout the field study, but here I would like to draw attention to 3 in particular. The key skill of being creative can be developed through taking photos and posting them to a class repository via Padlet or Google Drive, and the creation of an artistic representation of an aspect of the field study in follow-up classes. Working with others is a skill that can be embedded by having students work in pairs for the scavenger hunt, or by having them peer assess each other's models or drawings or presentations. By having to take photos of particular items, and through questioning or linking to classroom learning throughout the day, students will be managing information and thinking about the field study in light of prior knowledge. Cross-curricular links can be forged with various other subject areas, for example, geography, art, and CSPE. Students can draw on their studies of geographical features such as rivers and mountains, which would have offered protection to the medieval town. It may be possible to work in collaboration with the art department after the field study, as students create models or paintings of artefacts they have seen on the trip. Waterford is one of Ireland's oldest cities, and many of the modern buildings have been built around the remaining medieval structures, which will link with the concept of conservation of cultural heritage. With regards to the challenges that students and teachers may face, there are a few that may arise, but most can be overcome with careful planning and organisation. For teachers, before the trip, it may be a challenge to collect permission slips and the money for transport and admission from students. On the day of the field study, teachers must be aware of any medication schedules of any of the students. Although most of the tour is indoors, poor weather may also affect the trip. Ensure there are enough supervisors from the school present to keep the group together and avoid any students wandering off. Careful planning will also be needed to ensure that the group sticks to the time schedule given, for example, during lunch hour. For students, many may find the unstructured learning environment a challenge. This part of the course is studied in first year, and some of the younger students may find it difficult to maintain focus outside of the classroom environment. Additionally, although the tour guides are engaging, some students tend to focus only on the questions or items on the scavenger hunt and switch off once they have completed the task. On the other hand, there will always be one or two who wish to take notes, which can be difficult on the move. Additionally, although most if not all students will have a phone or device for taking photos, some batteries can be notoriously short-lived, which may prevent them from completing all the given tasks. As previously mentioned, many of these issues can be alleviated through careful planning and by giving students clear learning intentions for the activities. With that, we are reaching the end of the presentation and will revisit the learning intentions. By now, it is hoped that you have a good idea of the rationale behind choosing Reginald's Tower and the Medieval Museum as a field study location. We have examined some possible teaching, learning and assessment methods, considered how the key skills can be embedded and identified where cross-curricular links can be forged, and we have also addressed some challenges that may arise for students and teachers. I thank you for your time and attention, and I hope you have found this presentation beneficial.